as most comic book nerds and DC officially left New York.
Right.
Well, they are now officially in Burbank. Like, I only know this because the comic book shop I work for, House of Secrets, Burbank, California, is 2 blocks from there.
Which is just perfect that you're on this podcast.
So
you're going to get all the news for us.
They have started filtering into the store because it's the closest comic book shop to the new office. Nice. And most of the people that live in California that have worked for DC, like Paul Dini, and like, he hasn't worked for DC. He did Captain America, Winter Soldier, Fatal, Criminal, Brubaker.
Yes,
Brubaker, he lives also in Burbank, and they shop in the store. Stuff like that. People who have high names in the industry live and work out of LA and the Burbank area, so therefore they know that this store is here. Right. They started filtering in. Most of them have been very nice. I've met only a few people. It's not like they wear signs, so I don't know who they all are because, editors and stuff, it's not like... They don't go to stuff.
Yeah, and even artists a lot of the times.
No, you don't know what they look like.
I couldn't pick out Stuart Immonen if I saw him on the street. I wish I could because I'd like to fall at his feet and worship him a little bit.
It's kind of like you remember back in the 90s and the early 2000s, the Wizard magazine would show you the picture of the artist so you knew what they look like. Right. Well, we don't have that anymore. So unless you're following them on Twitter or something, it's kind of like, I don't know who that white guy was, So, this gentleman came in, I do not remember his name. And he is some sort of senior vice president of something. And he was very nice. And we were talking, and he kind of was like, hey, what's the word in the store? Like, he really wanted an opinion of the retailer to the company. What is the general consensus from the people actually buying the book? And I said, okay. And I was very diplomatic. I was not mean. And I was like, all right, well, here's the skinny. It's confusing. And he was like, what do you mean? He's like the book itself? I said, dude, it's confusing. Yeah. I said, I've been reading DC Comics for 25 to 30 years. I don't know what's happening in your book. Yeah. That's not good. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, he goes, I can see that. And, and he was like, he was thinking I was talking about something else. And he started rambling on. I said, no, I think you misunderstood me. I'm talking about Convergence. And he was like, oh, I'm not even thinking about that no more. I'm on July's problems. And I was like, well, that could be an issue. Maybe you should focus on June's issues. Yeah. Focus on July and July. Now, granted, I know they are in the future, but you should still have an ear to the ground on what's not working before moving on.
Right, because he's also asking your opinion about what the word is on the store. Yeah. You're not going to have an opinion about the books that are coming out in July because they haven't come out yet.
Exactly.
So,
and he was like, well, anything else? I said, yeah. I said, a lot of people are really concerned about Batman. And he was just like, why? And I said, he goes, it's Snyder and Capullo. Why are they concerned? I said, I hear you. Yeah. That's a valid point. It is. But you also killed Batman and the Joker, air quotes, right. and he looked at me and goes, do you really think they're dead? I said, no, because I've been reading comics for 30 years. Yes. I said, also, they were killed near a Lazarus pit.
Yeah, that's how you get out of it.
Yeah, and he looked at me and he goes, oh, so you noticed that? I'm like, how could you not?
Yeah.
You had it in a bubble, but a lot of people I've talked to are not interested in reading Jim Gordon in an Iron Man Batman suit. Yeah. But because it's Snyder and Capullo, I am willing to give him a shot.
Of course.
So it was a very short, interesting conversation. He listened. He was very nice. He was just like, yeah, he goes, I've heard a lot of the same stuff. And I said, I'm not trying to be mean. He goes, no. He goes, it's not like I haven't heard it before. And I said, that's fair. It's hard for me to sell a book to someone if I can't tell them what it's about because I don't know.
Also, that I don't care.
I didn't say that, but frankly, I wanted to be really mean, but I didn't because he doesn't deserve it. He didn't write it. Mm-hmm. He's not in charge as far as I know, because I think he would have told me, yes. If you're in charge of DC, I think you're going to come in and lay your dick out and be like, I'm in charge of DC.
And then my answer to you is going to be a little bit different.
Slightly, and he was a very nice man, but I was just kind of like, well, it's confusing. It was the nicest thing I could come up with. I wasn't going to be like, it's fucking terrible. Like, everything you do over there is terrible right now. I asked him straight, I'm like, why'd you guys move out of New York? Like, did we just not like New York anymore? And he goes, oh, because we're focusing on movies. He goes, the comics are now a secondary thing. And I was like, well, it reads that way.
Yeah, it does.
And he laughed, and I was just like, I don't think it's funny.
Not kidding.
He's just like, we're going to focus on the film world like Marvel's doing. And I just felt like going like, you do know that Marvel isn't just focusing on the film world, though. Like, their books are actually very good too. I didn't say that, you know. And he was like, yeah, we're going to focus on the movies and get those going. And I'm just like,
Because
all right, well, because you're making mistakes right out the gate. Then.
And everything that I've seen coming from the movies shows that they don't really have a handle on that either.
So it is what it is. But again, I thought it was an interesting conversation, and that in lieu of me talking about Convergence, because I haven't read it, I can bring that story to the masses.
That works. That works.
And I mean, he didn't say I couldn't talk about it, so fuck it.
That's fine. And for anybody listening,
allegedly,
yeah,
all this was a lie.
Sure, yeah, it's just Leland's word against some.
Don't sue me or the store.
Please don't sue this podcast either. We don't have any money, but yeah.